This video is brought to you by me. For $1 a month, you can support the channel directly and help me keep doing what I love. Thanks for watching and supporting. Where do you know Criterion games from? Is it their stellar work on the Burnout series? Maybe you jumped on later when they were handed the keys to the Need for Speed series. If your answer was neither of these, you know them from Airblade, the action sports title released in the same year as the first Burnout game. Please tell me how your experience was in the comments. I want to hear from you specifically. In 1996, Canon, yes the camera company, established Criterion Games, a dedicated video game studio that would work on games that took advantage of the company's 3D mapping and texturing program Renderware. Upon forming the studio, Renderware was tweaked into a game engine that would become the backbone of Burnout and other games made by the company. But Renderware went further than that though, and was incorporated into some of the biggest series of all time, like Tony Hawk, Grand Theft Auto, Persona, and Shadow the Hedgehog. While Criterion's big hit series was clearly Burnout, the series was far from the only game they worked on. Today we're going to look at Airblade, the series that didn't survive. Airblade was released in Europe in 2001 and in America in 2002. Initially, it gives off the vibe of kind of a Tony Hawk ripoff. However, the game quickly establishes itself as its own thing. Airblade has a story. Oscar is a scientist trying to develop a hoverboard named Airblade that will run off an alternate fuel source from gasoline. However, his company, the GCP Corporation, shuts down his project because an anti-fossil fuel source could be bad for profits. Frustrated and jobless, Oscar smuggles the board home. It's not long before GCP is busting down his door looking for him and the stolen piece of tech. Oscar is kidnapped, and his roommate Ethan takes the Airblade and escapes, vowing to rescue his friend with the help of his hacker friend Kat. You play as Ethan and travel to 6 different levels as you gain information and generally cause headaches for GCP. The Airblade itself isn't your average skateboard in that it doesn't abide by the normal laws of physics and acceleration. At first, Airblade feels bizarre to control. The board moves at a snail's pace until you discover the boost button that gets you up to a reasonable speed. It doesn't feel like any snowboarding or skateboarding game before it because it's not entirely momentum based. You have to use the boost in order to go fast, and if you run out, you slow down. To get more, you have to do tricks and combos, and the larger the combo, the more the boost meter fills. Since the board hovers, you don't have to jump to do tricks. At any point, you can do flip tricks by pressing a button. This comes in handy for getting boost when you're in a pinch. You can do grab tricks as well, but the grab button also doubles as a way to grab onto poles and rails in order to reach higher places or paths. Platforming is more central to this game than you first expect. Instead of doing high score challenges and combo challenges, you are tasked with bringing down GCP. You can take down guards, destroy billboards, and ruin shipping warehouses. In terms of game feel, the game could have been improved heavily with a better sense of retained momentum. Jumping onto a rail and immediately losing speed feels rather clunky, but at the same time the way the game is structured and how timing jumps needs to be consistent potentially could have made the game worse. However, the most difficult thing of all is the lack of checkpoints in levels. Each level requires you to do all the challenges in one go, or else you start over completely. Of all the things in the game, this was probably my biggest sticking point. It's not that hard, it's just that after doing some of the challenges, they lose their appeal. Doing a kickflip into guards is funny, once. So to really drive home the issue, let's look at a level at random and cover what you do. Okay, level 2, Downtown. In this level, you have 5 objectives. Smash 4 billboards, grab 5 surveillance cameras, grind 3 uplink vans, trick on 5 agents, and get on the chopper. Every level has a strict time limit. They also prevent challenges in the same order, one at a time, so on the first attempt you don't know the full scope of what you'll be doing. If you figure out the objectives through failure or replaying the levels more than once, you can do them out of order. However, since there is no checkpoint, if you breeze through 4 objectives and get stuck figuring out how to get to the chopper and run out of time, you have to completely redo the level. I got particularly frustrated on the next to last level where you can fall off the skyscraper and have to restart the whole thing. It doesn't help that half the objectives deliberately put you in a danger of falling. Unfortunately, I think this all has to do with padding out the playtime because even as stuck as I was on the rooftop level, I beat the game in about 2 hours. It's too bad, really, that I finished Airblade more frustrated than I did going into it. Once I figured out how the game worked, I appreciated how different it was from other extreme sports games at the time. The lack of momentum prevented the game from feeling as smooth as I feel it otherwise could have, but with the boost being abundant, it made up for it a bit. Airblade, for all its warts, is still kinda cool. As much as I wish it had let me progress in a less frustrating way, it tried really hard to leave an impression, and I think it succeeded in standing out. So again, if you played Airblade, I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments down below. If you liked the video, please leave a like on it, and if you want to see more videos like this, please press the subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. Lastly, if you want to support the channel directly, you can check out my Patreon in the link below. For $1 a month, you can support the channel, and you get videos early, as well as some extra stuff. I want to thank my higher tier patrons, Andrew Lang, Andrew Elmore, Andrew Donahoe, Okayla, Just Jessica, and 8-Bit Jesus. Thanks for watching.